Okay. Good morning, everyone. This is Eleazar Santos Tejada. At this moment, this recording is part of our sessions or encounters by Skype for you as members of the Intermediate English 1 and for me as part of my pedagogical experience too. Okay. At this time, today is October the 1st, it's 10:15 a.m. in Colombia, and we are starting our first session. At this moment, I have online Juan Gabriel Rodríguez Muñoz, Jorge Enrique Díaz Melo, and Laurie Lynette Rua Rodríguez. Welcome to this space, Juan.
Thank you, teacher. I am ready for this encounter.
It's okay. Thank you. Okay, thank you, Jorge. Welcome.
Hi, teacher. Well, my name is Jorge Enrique Diaz Melo. I'm 29 years old. I would like to have a good encounter today.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Jorge. And Laurie Lynette, welcome.
Welcome, teacher. I hope that we can work the best way, and I'm ready for this encounter.
Thank you. Okay, as I told you a few minutes ago, my agenda today for you is to welcome you. The second would be our introduction. After that, we will talk about the encounters rules. And finally, we will use one grammar aspect. This just to break the ice and to know if your English level is according to what I expect to teach you from now on ahead. Okay, so don't worry about it. Okay, as a first point, welcome. Okay, this is one academic space. Okay, this is one moment that you have to practice your English. I know you are English students, but sometimes you don't have the time, the opportunity, or the people to share, to practice, and to use all what you learn, what you read, write, and listen in a classroom or at any academical environment. So this space is for you to share knowledge, to share experiences, but overall to speak, okay, to speak. So take advantage of this hour and a half, almost 2 hours maybe, and be ready to enjoy, okay, to enjoy the encounter. So that's the recommendation. Are you okay with that, Juan?
Yes, teacher. I am okay.
Okay, thank you, Jorge.
Yes, teacher, I'm agree. Thanks very
Okay,
much.
and thank you, and Laurie.
Okay, teacher.
All right, thank you. This is a part of your English Intermediate 1. So in this case, I'm supposed to give you one score at the end of the encounters, you know? Suppose you will have a grade at score at the end of the encounters. But I have to say from now that the score I'm gonna give you is not based on how fluent you speak, how much English like that, you know. The important is the attitude and the way how you receive and how you are motivated to participate in these encounters. Okay, so for the score, don't worry about it so much. Be concerned and be ready to speak. Don't worry for the score because really I want you to enjoy every single encounter. As a second point, we are make the introductions. Okay, so I'm going to introduce myself at the beginning and then you will be, right? I am Eleazar Santos Tejada. I was born in Barranca Bermeja, Santander In November the 4th, 1974, in my family, we are 10 siblings. So I have 6 sisters and we are 4 men, okay? I am the 5th, kind of big family. When I finished my school, I went to the NCO Academy Inocencio Chinca in Tolemaida Military Fort. And after that, I worked for almost 25 years there. And when I got the rank of Sergeant Major, I decided to stop working there. I left the Army and I became in a military retire 3 years ago. I live in Melgar, Tolima for work reasons because I finished in Tolemaida Military Aviation and because my wife is also working here in Melgar. So I live here in Melgar with my wife and my 2 younger children, okay? Valeria, who is 8 years old, and Christopher, who is 8 months old. My oldest daughter lives in Manizales. She is Daniela. She is ending the career of photograph and design. She lives there. So I live here with my wife and my 2 little children. I learned English by myself when I was second sergeant. So I just use empirically some books, dictionary, notebooks, things like that. And while I was patrolling in the mountains, I began to read, to understand, to study by myself. It was for about 5 or 6 years. Then I was assigned to work in Tolemaida Military Aviation as an English instructor when my commanders considered that I knew little English. So I was sent there to teach. Really, I was not full at the time. I'm not full now. But when you have those kind of challenges in front of you, what you have to do is to face them, right? You need to face them, and that helps you a lot to grow personal and professionally. So I was teaching for about 2 years, basic for the military personnel in Tolemaida. And after that, they sent me to the DLI, to the Defense Language Institute in San Antonio, Texas for 3 months to get the certification as an general English instructor. I came back and I taught for about 2 more years, and then I went back to the United States Army Sergeant Major's Academy for more than a year to study there. So that is culture, that is background that helps me a lot to grow and to get better understanding of the English language. So in general, I taught in Tolemaida for about almost 9 years with civilian, children, and military personnel like that. The instruction there was one part general English and the other part was to teach English, technical English for aviation. When I became in a retire, I taught for almost 2 years in a private institution when in here we need to reinforce students from Melgar and all the surroundings from elementary and the secondary. And currently I teach private classes at home with children and adult people as part of my work. I am in the last semester of the bachelor degree in English as a foreign language with UNAT. So this is my last course, pedagogical experience too. With you, I am ending, and at the same time, I am studying my thesis for graduation, that is in self-learning. So my expectations are to finish the courses and to get the promotion, the graduation maybe next year, to finish in December all of this stuff, because I just got 5 years in this process, maybe as some of you are in the process now. So for me, the fact of being here in front of you talking this is just to motivate you to again enjoy these encounters, because maybe in 6 months, in 1 year or more, I don't know, depending on you, you will be here sitting down in my position. So maybe next year you will be the instructors, you know. If you want to become teachers, next year maybe you will be in here in charge of a group of people. So that is the reason, okay? Because I was in your position, I was in my encounters 2 years ago about and 1.5 years ago in English conversation, and those encounters are really helpful if you enjoy them, okay? So that is the invitation as well. Okay, that's a part of my curriculum vitae or my biography. Later you can ask me any question if you want, okay? Now I'm going to start with Juan Gabriel Rodriguez to tell us your personal introduction, please.
Thank you, teacher. I am Juan Rodriguez Munoz. I was born in Medellin in January 18. I am 34 years old. I don't have children. I am single. I am living in Abu Dhabi. I am study bachelor degree in English and Oxford English language. I 50 semester. I am retired also. Colombian Army's in the rank second sergeant. I belong to the specialty of communication. I was in the Colombian Army 13 years with 8 months. I am working in the security company here in the United Arab Emirates. And I go to Colombia every year at vacation for 45 days. And thank you, teacher, for your introduction. You have a lot of experience. It's a nice motivation for me. You and me get experience it for the army, and now I go to the career, and I want a good teacher. Thank you.
Thank you, Juan. Thank you very much. Jorge Enrique, please.
Okay, thank you, teacher, very much. Well, teacher, my name is Jorge Enrique Diaz Melo. I was born in Cartagena, Bolívar. Almost all my life I have lived in Cartagena since when I was born to 18 years old. I studied there in a private school. My secondary, I did it in another neighborhood, different from the way, different from the neighborhood that I was living where I was living. I have two siblings. I have a stepsister and a stepbrother. My age is I am 28 years old. 29, 29 years old. 29 years old. I have studied a lot of things. Seriously, I studied when I was when I finished my school. I started to study English at Centro Colombo Americano in Cartagena, Bolívar. Later, I moved to Itama, Boyacá, when I live now. Later when I moved to Itama, I started to study the mechatronic at Sena Sogamoso. It is nearby to Itama, more or less 30 minutes of distance. I studied accounting administration in Cartagena. When I was in the same time when I was studying English at Centro Colombo Americano, I started in the same time to study accounting administration. Well, later when I moved here in Duitama, I started to study in a public university, UPTC, it's called. I studied administration in agropecuary administration. It's like that. Later I get off of that university. I start to study a bachelor's degree in English as a foreign language. And I have my mother alive. My father is dead. And what else? What else? Well, my brother, my stepbrother is 29, 21 years old, and he's studying electronic at Sena too. My sister is studying mm, at Antioquia University, the public university of Medellin. She's studying medicine. She's in the fifth semester. My brother is making the practice in Diaco. Is is a big company here in Boyacá. He is making the practice in the practice in time. Well, the practice in stage.
Yeah.
Yes, and now and actually I'm studying the eighth semester of bachelor degree in English as a foreign language. Thank you, teacher.
That's really good, Jorge. Thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, before continuing, is correct I say Laurie, Lynette, or Laurie? I don't know how to pronounce. Excuse me for that in advance.
No problem, teacher. Laurie Lynette.
All right.
Yeah, my parents are very creative giving names.
I think so.
So, yes. Okay, my name is Laurie Leonardo Rodriguez. I'm 18 years old. Okay, I'm not living as long as you. I'm pretty old, younger comparing with you. I don't
Oh,
have much to say. Um, okay, I live with my parents and I had a younger brother. Currently, I'm in fifth semester of bachelor degree in English as a foreign language. Um, I work, I work um, giving private classes of all subjects for primary. I remember that the teacher had the pleasure of meet one of my students the last Saturday. She's pretty, she's beautiful. In the weekends, I teach English. I teach English class, and that's what I do for living.
yes.
um, um, my experience in English starts when I was more or less 6 years old, because I remember that I saw Michael Jackson in the TV, and when I see him, I say to myself, okay, I had to learn English and I had to dance like him. and okay, and in a future, I would like becoming a teacher and be the best teacher of the world, because I feel that this is my passion. I love so much this. Okay, I love teaching English, teaching maths. Is what I do. Is I identify with this profession, and it's for me a pleasure be with you and try to practice a little bit about English. Thank you.
Bueno, really good. Okay, thank you, Aurilenet. That's really good as well. Very good information. You see, you're young, but you have a lot of things to tell us, so don't worry about it. And besides, you are telling me and maybe my partners, old people, but it's okay, right? Yes, everybody has a different motivation to learn, you know. Everybody has different reasons for studying this second wonderful language, okay? For me, as a personal experience, I can say that when I began to go in this English world, the English changed my life. Okay, the English really changed my life, and the invitation is for you as well. Maybe you can see when you learn English, many more doors are open for you around the world. Okay, maybe here in Colombia as well, but around the world is much better, the possibility to success when you learn English. Okay, so good motivation for every one of you. I can see that you have clear goals, clear objectives, and I just have to say go ahead for them because they are possible. Okay, all of them are possible to reach. Juan, why do you want to become an English teacher?
Sorry, excuse me, repeat please.
Yes, understanding that this is a bachelor's degree in English as a foreign language, maybe you want to become an English teacher. Why do you want to become an English teacher?
For the experience.
Maybe, I don't know. Yeah.
I don't have experience for the teacher English.
Okay. Do you want to become English teacher, or you just learn or make this career for you as a personal goal?
My principal goal is be a English teacher. I like teach, so these are my principal goal.
Okay, but why?
Because I like teach.
All right, that's wonderful. Yeah, sorry. Thank you. That's good. Okay, because you like. If you like, you will be a good teacher. Jorge, Jorge, what is your opinion about Nairo Quintana?
Nairo Quintana?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a good question. Well, teacher.
You are in Duitama, I don't know.
Yeah, it's right. Well, teacher, I am not from. I didn't. I wasn't born here in Duitama, but I can say that people here in Duitama are very passionate by cycling.
Yes.
In Boyacá, Antioquia. But well, I think he has made a lot of things for Colombia representing too, right? So it's very important what he has made in in the matter of his goals. And
Yes.
a lot of people started to to make some critics about his present, but I think I think that the most people who start to critique Nairo Quintana is why they have not had they hadn't they haven't had the opportunity to be in those kind of competition where you have to demonstrate and you have to be in 5 hours in a bike. So it's like the Colombian people is like a passionate people, and the emotion start to go up, and start to know the people. The most time of people don't acquire the the big things that Nairo Quintana have made for Colombia. So I think he has made a good representation of Colombia in the worldwide.
Correctly. Thank you very much. Yes. Yes, it is. Again, it's motivation. Many people ride bicycles. Many people maybe have started a career. Many people have started, I don't know, one project, you know, but not all of them finished, you know.
Yeah.
Maybe a few finish, you know. It's the same with English, okay? Many people in the courses begin to study English, you know, but only a few finish, you know. Only a few are success, you know. And again, you are in the group of those few people, okay? You are in the group of those few people because the three of you can speak English, okay? You are speaking English. We can understand one to each other in here, and that is wonderful, okay? Again, is motivation, okay? Maybe for Nairo Quintana was not easy at the beginning, okay? Maybe the same for James Rodriguez. At the beginning, it was not easy, okay? Or even for Michael Jackson, I don't know really, you know. But when you persevere and you are constant and you are disciplined, you get the goals, okay? You get the goals. Maybe you say 6 hours on a bike, you know, 6 hours on a bike, running one long day, exercising, things like that. It's the same for English, okay? Maybe many people can say you studying English again, you watching movies again, you watching videos again, you writing grammar, you learning, you memorizing, you making a lot of stuff, you know. But again, only those who persevere, who are constant, will reach their goals. Okay, so it's just motivation for you because you are doing really, really well. Okay. Where did you learn English, Laurilenet?
Um, Teacher, I can say that I learned it by myself. Because, you know, in this high school and in the primary, teachers sometimes are a little incompetent, and even they didn't teach English like with, I don't know, with love, or they don't have the motivation like you said. It's just like a word for them, and maybe sometimes the teacher hate the students and that happened. Yes, yes, teacher, yes, because I had the opportunity to talk with some teacher, and some teacher says that, so I don't know why they choose that career if they don't like the kids or adolescents. Okay.
Yes.
And yes, I started by myself. I remember that I started listening music of Michael Jackson, obviously, and
Obviously.
then I tried to learn to read books. And when YouTube appeared, I okay, no YouTube, no. There are uh, an app called Duolingo. Yes,
Mhm.
and I practice with that app. And sorry, teacher. Okay, my mom came. Okay,
It's
and
okay. Don't worry.
and and on this moment I try to listening movies, as you say, and videos about things what I like movies, or about characters, and well, with the university, all you don't have so much time for for practice, because with the homework and all the activities with that, I think that you can practice so much, because almost every subject is in English. So
Mhm.
on this moment, I practice with the university because I don't have time for practice in another way.
Bueno, right. Thank you very much. Okay, that's good as well. Thank you very much. Yes, uh, it's good. You can talk about almost anything till this moment, so it will be a wonderful group. Okay, thank you so much. Do you have any question for me? Do you have any extra question for me about my personal life, or I don't know, if you want, or any question for any of you among you? You can make me any question to clarify or go in deep about any aspect.
Yes, teacher. Can I make you a question, teacher?
Yes.
Um, Teacher, well, as you know, I studied at Centro Colombo Americano. I started to study English in that institution.
Yeah.
Uh, it made me easy to learn English in that way. Well, not so easy, but you know the when you are young, you can learn English so much better.
Yeah.
But you said that you started to study English as empirical way. I don't I mean it doesn't me in my mind it can be possible, right? To learn English as empirical way. So, what was your method, you know, or your way to learn English empirically?
Okay. My I think my motivation was my English teacher from my high school. She was a really humble person, but when I heard her speaking in English with other English teachers, to me it was shocking, wonderful, and I imagine if I would have the opportunity someday, I will study that because I came from the countryside. My family doesn't have money to send me to a private school or things like that. We are 10 brothers, you know, you imagine a lot of people to eat, to feed, to blah, blah, blah. So I began to work in the army, but I always kept in my mind that motivation. I wanted to learn how people speak around the world, but especially in English, you know, because when teacher talked to us, she looked always motivated, enthusiastic, fluently. It was wonderful. So when I was second sergeant, I began to study by myself on the mountains. Mm, it's hard. It took time because yes, as you say, maybe when you are an institution, can be easier, can be a little bit easier. But when you are alone, you are not sure if you are pronouncing well. I just wrote and wrote and tried to memorize and try to understand grammar, things like that. My soldiers and my partners, other corporals, other sergeants, and even some of my commanders, they say, "You look like a crazy man. You look like a crazy man. Talking yourself in these mountains, alone, in the jungle. You're like a crazy man. You carrying books in your backpack. You carrying books, dictionary, things like that. You know." My first listenings were in cassettes. I had to go to Bogota. I remember in Canton Norte, in Avenue 7 with 106, and I had to pass them. Maybe my friend from communication know, pass them to cassette to MP3 to make CDs. You know, because to carry out on my back, it was easier to carry out CDs, no cassettes. So I use a lot of